Back in Jacksonville, the Texans have won the toss, and they will receive, which brings on Matt Schaub.
Yeah, he was solid last season, Marvin. He did it for the most part without Andre Johnson and Arian Foster, and they didn't play a lot of football together. They need the big three to stay healthy.
Matt Schaub back from the foot surgery, missing the last 6 regular season games, the 2 playoff games. There's the head coach of the Texans, Gary Kubiak, native of Houston, in his 7th year as head man of the Texans, and he has certainly made gradual progress to last season's 10-6. Jacksonville head coach Mike Mularkey in his first season as head coach of the Jaguars, the one-time head coach in Buffalo, spent the last 4 years as offensive coordinator with Atlanta and helped to develop quarterback Matt Ryan.
Yeah, he did an excellent job with that, and I think much more experienced and prepared the second time around as the case a lot of these coaches. We talked a little bit to him on Friday about his experience in Buffalo and managing situations. He said he can't worry about things that are out of your control, and I think he really embraced the challenge of working with Blaine Gabbert.
The speedy Trenton Holiday, who has world-class speed at NCAA Sprint Champ at LSU, 6th-round draft pick last year, had himself quite a preseason, 3 returns for touchdowns in the preseason. And Josh Scobie, who had some problems last week, that short kickoff led to Minnesota's game-tying field goal and had a point after that was blocked. There's Holiday, broke tackles, makes his way across the 20-yard line. It's a 30-yard return for Holiday. And for Houston up front, Pro Bowl center Chris Myers anchoring that offensive line. Chris in his 8th season out of Miami. The backs and receivers, another Miami product, 5-time Pro Bowl wideout Andre Johnson coming off a big game, and it is an explosive duo with another Pro Bowler, Arian Foster, as the feature back. Foster and Casey in the backfield as the Texans start out. Play fake, leading to the screen for Casey. Casey makes it across the 30, met by Aaron Ross, picked up 9. James Casey, a converted tight end, and they'll use him as a pass receiver. Look at the Jaguars defensively, much improved last season. They go with Andre Branch, the rookie from Clemson, making his first NFL start. The linebackers, Paul Posluszny is the quarterback of the defense. And in the secondary, the key guys, Aaron Ross, the one-time Giant. Hurry up, being utilized here by Schaub, and has a first down connecting with Kevin Walter. So they waste no time. That's a pickup of 6.
Well, a really nice start here for the Texans. They're a very good screen team, and then play action, and it all comes off of running the football. Gary Kubiak was not happy with the production last week against Miami, just 2.4 rush. Look for them to try and run Foster and Tate a lot more today against this defense.
Houston first down from their 36-yard line. Again, the play fake. The swing pass to the tight end Daniels, and he is able to break tackles and has a first down. He goes for 12. Russell Allen, the outside linebacker, was able to pick him up.
Well, you have to be able to defend the screen game. They happen to everybody. They throw them to receivers. They throw them to Arian Foster. They're also thrown to the backs and tight ends. And so you see the first 2 screens of the game to the tight ends.
And now Ben Tate, who had a terrific season a year ago, has checked in. Here's Schaub with lots of time. Able to sidearm and completes to Tate. Is able to stay in bounds. Nice start here for the Texans. He has a first down. He was pushed out by the strong safety, Dewan Landry, so that's a gain of 11.
And just when you think the Texans are going to come in here and try and run the football, they just start out throwing it. Look, it's 4 straight passes. They've really got this Jacksonville defense off balance.
4 for 4, 38 yards for Schaub. And this time, the handoff to Tate. Ben Tate in his 3rd season out of Auburn, and Rick, last season he ran for 942 yards as he made it back after missing his rookie season with a broken leg. Last week, very quiet, just 5 carries, 6 yards.
But what a luxury they have with Foster and Tate, and they're not afraid to use either of them during the flow of the game.
Second down and 5. Foster, we were talking with Arian last night, and he told us that he feels that, as he describes it, he has a deceptive stride. It can give the appearance of not moving. And he feels it's in a similar style to that of Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, he's got that long stride. He picks him up and puts him down quickly. And I think it's the vision and his cutback ability that make him the perfect back for this system.
Houston short of the first down. It's 3rd and 1. Foster in the backfield. And Foster has a first down. Driving off the left side, he's hauled down by Paul Posluszny. He picked up 4 on the play. Arian telling us that he has studied tape of Dickerson. He says they've actually talked about the technique. They do talk from time to time. Foster also said he feels that Eric Dickerson is the most underrated running back of all time. Schaub able to throw underneath, and this time the tight end Owen Daniels is bottled up. It's an advance of 4.
Well, Matt Schaub talked to us last night about being patient against this defense. This is a defense that doesn't give up a lot of big plays. They keep things in front of them, and they kind of make you work your way down the field. You can't try and force things versus the secondary. It's an experienced group.
Second down and 6. An impressive drive here by Houston. They're at the Jacksonville 25-yard line. Tate runs for the first down. Hard running move by Ben Tate, moving to his left and picked up 9. He was run out by William Middleton, who was playing for the injured Derek Cox at right corner.
You've got to be able to hold up front, and this defense is really at its best as those 2 tackles inside kind of dominating the line of scrimmage.
Texans have a first down at the Jacksonville 15-yard line. Tate and Casey lined up in the offset eye. Again, a big hole for Ben Tate. Stopped by Andre Branch, the right defensive end, so Tate is held to a pickup of 3.
I watched the film last week, and you see a lot of runs to the left where the experience is on this offensive line. You've got Wade Smith and Dwayne Brown. Guys have played a lot of football last year alongside Chris Myers. On the right side, 2 new starters, Caldwell and Newton, and they don't have a lot of experience working together side by side.
Houston starting out with 4 straight passes. 5 of the last 6 plays have been to the ground. Now Schaub dumps it off, a kind of a flip pass for Arian Foster.
We're seeing some throws from Matt Schaub today from an awkward body position. He's kind of fading and falling off a little bit, and that's not something we typically see with Schaub. It's a guy that stands in there tall in the pocket and has good weight distribution, good balance, and made a couple errant throws already with not as accurate as we've typically seen him moving to his right or to his left.
Well, Schaub, Foster, and Johnson, all hard hit by injuries last season, have already equaled how much playing time they received a year ago. Here's Schaub, complete short of the first down. Kevin Walter with the diving catch, and now they say it is incomplete. Not able to hang on. So the field goal unit will check in.
And this is what Jackson does so well. They find a way to get off the field on 3rd down, down the red zone. I mean, let you drive down the field. Nice job there by Aaron Ross getting that hand in there, but they make you settle for field goals in this part of the field. You've got to be patient versus defense.
This is Shane Graham attempting from 31 yards away. Last week against Miami, he had 3 of 4. The one miss was deep from 52. Graham puts it up and puts it through. Good start for the Texans, although they had to settle for a field goal. 3-0 Houston. Well, there you see a 13-play, 66 yards in 5 minutes, 35 seconds. 31-yard field goal by Graham. Matt Schaub on the drive, 5 for 7, 41 yards. 4 different receivers with a catch. They go no huddle through the start of that drive. Jalen Parmalee, the one-time Baltimore Raven, is back. And Graham's kick goes deep. Mobley will stay right there. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line of the Jaguars to the offense for the first time. We're early first here at Everbank Field, Jacksonville. It is a 3-0 lead for the Texans. Jacksonville 1st and 10 from the 20. And Rich, there is quarterback Blaine Gabbert, who comes off a good game in the loss last week.
Yeah, the goal, I think, clearly to set him up for greater success in his second season.
And he will throw on first down. The penalty marker is down. The ball is tipped. And it falls incomplete. Pass intended for LaRon Robinson. Referee is David White, an attorney by way of Vanderbilt University, has officiated in Division II.
Offside, defense number 95. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
That is the nose tackle, Sean Cody. A look at the Jaguars, the offensive line. Hard hit by injury, so Herb Taylor signed earlier this week, starting for the injured Evan Britton at left guard. Maurice Jones-Drew, who led the NFL in rushing a year ago, returning from that holdout, and he is back in the starting lineup and gets the call. Straight ahead move for the 7-year man out of UCLA, stopped by J.J. Watt, picked up a yard on the play. Now defense, a calling card for the Texans going back to last season. One of the keys, J.J. Watt, who has been sensational. Their linebackers, outstanding. Brian Cushing, their MVP last year, is voted by his teammates. And in the secondary, the right corner, Jonathan Joseph, making the Pro Bowl last year in his first season with the Texans after playing most of his career with the Bengals. Jones-Drew, the running back, and tries the right side, which is followed by a penalty flag. Maurice Jones-Drew telling us Friday at practice that he felt it was a slap in the face when people said he would not be able to come in top shape following the holdout. He said last week when he played a couple of times he did feel gassed, but he'd be able to catch a second wind.
Yeah, it's all about how quick you can recover at the running back position.
Number 58. Penalty yardage results in a first down.
Well, that's Brooks Reed, the strong side linebacker.
Yeah, a lot of times what you see is some of these defenders, they line up on the man across from them as opposed to the ball. I don't know. I didn't see that. I think one of the officials may have gotten the number wrong.
As I mentioned, the referee is an attorney, so he would argue the call very effectively if challenged. Out of the gun, Gabbert completes to the tight end, Potter, but short, way short of a first down. A pickup of about 4. Joseph was right there. Mike Malarkey was telling us, Rich, that he felt in watching Gabbert last season, Blaine's thought process was all he was thinking about was, am I going to get hit? And will anyone be able to get open, which is not the sign of confidence that you want to see in a quarterback.
Not what you want your quarterback thinking as he walks the line of scrimmage.
Here's the pitch to Jones-Drew. Turns the corner, puts the speed on, and has a first down and more. Cut down by Glover Quinn, the free safety, but Jones-Drew goes for 14.
Well, just watch the blocking on the edge. It's the bunch crunch. They come down and crack, and you just see both the lineman and the fullback get out in front. They love getting Maurice Jones-Drew out on the edge.
First down at midfield. Jones-Drew with Greg Jones and Montel Owens. It's a full house backfield here being used by the Jaguars. And again, it's Jones-Drew. Goes for 3 on the play. We were talking with Blaine Gabbert about the skills of J.J. Watt of the Texans, who is now being called in the Houston area J.J. SWAT because he's been so effective with that wingspan. He's 6'5", 295, and knocking passes down. And I asked him, will you try and modify your throwing form where you go sidearm, which is something that I don't know if you call it sidearm, but you would change up against guys like that.
Yeah, I think you have to find windows against this defense, and J.J. Watt could be very disruptive rushing the passer, getting those arms up.
Gabbert had the time and completes. Rick Jones, the fullback, is taken down inside the 45, picked up 4, that is short of first down. Connor Barwin making the tackle. Connor Barwin certainly must love this field. Here in Jacksonville in late November of last season, he came up with a team record 4 sacks against the Jaguars.
Everybody got after Blaine Gabbert last year, and he kind of had a target on his back. I think what you're seeing now, Marv, is that a lot of underneath throws. I think there's an emphasis on simplifying the reads, more quick decisions, and he's getting the ball out quicker, which is really helping this offense.
Third down and 3. Out of the gun. Gabbert's pass was tipped. Deflected by J.J. Swat, or as some call him, Rich, the Sultan of SWAT.
Well, you've got to do something about this, and one of the things, look, I mean, that's tough. And what you see right there is the offensive line can't disengage. Neri's got to stay on them. You've got to keep pushing. And as a quarterback, you keep reminding that offensive line, get their hands down on front, particularly in quick throws.
So Brian Anger, who is an excellent punter, although there was some criticism when the Jaguars took him on the 3rd round. That's unusual for a punter, gets off a good one, and a fair catch is made out of the 12-yard line. 32-yard punt. But Houston will start out deep in their own territory. 3-0 lead for the Texans, just under 6 remaining. And this first quarter here in Jacksonville, Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. And Houston will start out off that fair catch from their 12. Arian Foster is in the backfield. There's a fake to Foster. A sidearm pass is incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Owen Daniels.
We're looking at some throws of Matt Schaub during the break, and I've seen a couple now where you just watch him at the top of his drop. They're getting some good pressure up inside, and he's falling away from these throws, and it looks like the timing and the rhythm just not there on some of these crossing routes that they're so good at.
Second down and 10. Again, Foster, the lone back. Foster loves that trap play, but just a yard. C.J. Mosley makes the stop. Rich, would you agree now? Matt Schaub has had an excellent career since coming over to Houston, but does not have a cannon arm. He's very accurate, even when throwing the ball deep.
I would agree. I think he's a guy that does a great job, Marv, anticipating throws. The ball comes out quickly. He's got a lot of experience in this system. And the best part about Matt Schaub is he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
3rd and 9. The swing pass completed to Johnson, but they stop him short of a first down. Andre Johnson held to a 6-yard gain, and the Texans will be forced to punt.
Well, don't be fooled. This is a pretty good Jackson defense. You think about their defensive resurgence last season. It flew largely under the radar. This is an underrated group that's capable of taking over a game. I think back to that Baltimore game on Monday night last year, held the Ravens just one rushing first down.
The punt by Donnie Jones, a good one. Mike Thomas had a back pedal. Here he comes. Got to run wide, cuts back the other way, and he's taken down back behind the 25. A beautiful punt, 58 yards, 3-yard return. Whitney Mercilus making the stop, and Jacksonville will have it when we come back. Yes, Rich, here in Jacksonville, it is a mustache giveaway day with fake mustaches handed out to promote Jaguars owner Shad Khan, who obviously has a good sense of humor. Shad with a stylish handlebar mustache. I think that'd be the right description. There is Shad Khan, the new owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're doing the same today in St. Louis to honor the Rams head coach Jeff Fisher. With St. Louis playing Washington. Is there a theme going here today in the NFL?
I think so. Listen, they love Shad Khan down here. He remains firmly committed to keeping the Jags here in Jacksonville, and that's why he's been so warmly received by the fans here in Jacksonville.
On this first down play, a flag is thrown. Shad Khan previously tried to buy the St. Louis Rams, made a verbal commitment.
False start. False start on the offense, the left guard. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That'll be Herb Taylor playing for the injured Evan Britton. But the owner, Khan, made a verbal commitment to keep the Jaguars here in Jacksonville after much speculation regarding possible move to L.A. due to attendance problems here. Khan, born in Pakistan, made his fortune, as you have, Rich, in auto parts manufacturing.
For all my old cars.
Jones-Drew thought he had an opening. He is stopped at the line by J.J. Watt. Earl Mitchell also involved.
Well, these holes they close so fast. You see that little hole right there. Now all of a sudden, good job coming off. You see J.J. Watt squeeze that back down inside where he knows he has help. At some point, Jacksonville's got to start taking some shots down the field. And I know they want to control the line of scrimmage in the running game, but at some point, you've got to throw the ball in the early downs.
Second down and 15 for the Jaguars. At the 20, Jones-Drew, the running back. And the pass caught by Zach Potter, the tight end, but he's hit back the other way by Brian Cushing. And we're set for an update. Here's JB with Dan Marino. Guys.
Philly feeling the heat.
Okay, off of a Joe Flacco fumble, LaShawn McCoy goes in, 1-yard touchdown, round 6 plays, 14 yards, 7-0 Philadelphia.
Baltimore has just scored a touchdown, looking to even it up. We'll await the point after. Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
All right, JB, 3-0 Texans lead the Jaguars. It's number 4 minutes to play in this first quarter, and again a penalty marker. Looks to be the left tackle, Eugene Monroe.
False start, offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, third down.
It is Monroe, who last week against the Vikings did an excellent job against Jared Allen.
Well, you just see a little flinch by J.J. Watt. Left tackle there, Eugene Monroe, looking inside, and that's enough to make him move. As you mentioned, Marv, I thought he did an outstanding job last week against Jared Allen, a guy that had 22.5 sacks the year before.
Third down and 20. Gabbert can't find anyone, and he runs. Gets to the 20, picked up 5. Glover Quinn making the stop. Getting back to talking about Gabbert, when I asked him would he change his style in facing a guy like Watt, in fact, that Houston front four very adept at knocking passes down, he said no, he would not. What's your feeling about that?
Well, I think that's a mistake. I think it just comes with inexperience. I mean, you got to learn to throw from awkward body positions. You've got to be able to slide and find holes in the rush scheme, and if you don't, then you're going to get balls swatted all day by guys like J.J. Watt.
Here's Anger, had a 58-yard punt in his first attempt. Another beauty. Return by Holiday. Across the 30, 35, 40. Has running room, midfield, and is taken down. A beautiful return. Brian Anger, the punter, made the tackle on the 5'5", second-year man out of LSU, Trenton Holiday. 57-yard punt, but a 35-yard return. Congratulations at the Houston bench for Trenton Holiday off that beautiful return of the punt by Anger. So Houston taking over 1st and 10 at the Jaguar 41-yard line. Arian Foster in the backfield. Long count by Schaub. Foster able to make his move inside the 40, met by the outside linebacker Russell Allen. Picked up 2 on the play. Watch Fantasy Football today to get game-time player news, inactive updates to help set your lineup, and chat with our experts live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network and at cbssports.com/live. Second down and 8. Short set from Schaub, and he completes at the far side to Casey. Casey breaking the tackle, picked up a couple more. That Schaub is off to a good start. He's 7 of 9, and he's connected with 5 different receivers. That's about a 3-yard gain. So the ball is placed at the 45-yard line.
I think that guy right there, Gary Kubiak, is one of the best play callers in the business. He always does a nice job changing things up. The minute you think they're going to run it, they throw it, and vice versa.
Schaub out of the gun. Crowd urging on the Jaguar defensive unit. Pass complete for first down. Owen Daniels, the tight end, going sideline, picked up 9 and a first down. Now, last week in Houston, the Texans beat Miami 30-10, but that was following a slow start. They had that explosion late in the second quarter, and Rich, they were hearing the boos from the home crowd.
Yeah, they got off to kind of a sluggish start, and then all of a sudden the 4 takeaways by their defense in the second quarter kind of jump-started this offense.
First down for Houston. Ben Tate has checked back in. Handoff for Tate with running room. Down to the 10, 5, he's in, touchdown. Touchdown Houston. Ben Tate going 26 yards. The Texans with a 9-0 lead. What a combination to have Arian Foster and Ben Tate.
Just missing too many tackles there, and that's something that'll make you sick. Jacksonville didn't do a good job last week. You just watched some missed tackles on this. This is a big back. You can't tackle him up high. You're going to see Landry. He comes in and misses. Ross comes in and misses. You got to take this big back down low. And last week it was a problem in Minnesota. They have to tackle better. Mel Tucker said the Vikings runners were able to gain an additional 100 yards rushing last week after initial contact. It was a point of emphasis all week.
And they do review all scoring plays. Tate was able to angle in right by the pylon, so they'll take another look. We'll be right back. We are awaiting the decision from the replay booth as Ben Tate went 26 yards for what on the field was called a touchdown. This is what they are looking at.
Well, clearly it looks to me like that right foot is in. It's the left foot that's going to come out. Now you can't really tell whether or not the ball crosses before the left foot steps out. And I think this one. I think this is probably going to. You'd think that would come back. It's hard to tell though whether or not that ball actually crosses the line before the left foot steps out.
All right, here's David White, who will give us the explanation.
After review, the runner's right foot stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line while the ball was at the 1.5. The ball will be placed at the 1.5-yard line, first and goal.
We looked at that 3 or 4 different ways, Marv, during the break, and I can't tell. There's no way they could say his right foot steps out. Take a look at his right foot. How could you say that's out?
Pretty close.
Yeah, I don't know.
You could say
I could say that's out, the left foot.
Well, that too. But the right foot, it looked like it stepped on the line just slightly.
Well, nonetheless, first down and a big run by Ben Tate and some poor tackling by this Jacksonville defense. Well, these are big backs. You think about Foster and Tate. You've got to game tackle them, and you've got to tackle them low. You're just wasting your time if you try and tackle them up high. Too strong, too powerful to get down on the ground.
It ends up as a 25-yard run by Tate and a first and goal just outside the wall. Handoff. And Tate is stopped. He's stacked up by the defensive tackle C.J. Mosley, the 8-year man out of Missouri. Time running down in this first quarter, 45 seconds to play.
Well, really nice push inside. You see C.J. Mosley, he gets up there, he walks a tackle right back, and Jones actually loses his helmet. They had an extra offensive lineman in there. Ben Jones, he gets his helmet knocked off right at the point of contact.
Now Arian Foster checks back in, which should be the final play of this first quarter. Foster, untouched, is able to score for the Texans. Takes that low-key bow, which we don't see often these days in the NFL. But Arian Foster, who scored 2 touchdowns last week against Miami, has extended the Texan lead to 9-0.
Well, what you have to do is you have to be prepared for the wind back. They get you started in one direction. Look at the backside cutoff, and that's just too easy for a back like Arian Foster. On the backside of those runs, boy, you got to come down and squeeze because they do a great job bouncing them back.
The 11-year man out of Virginia Tech, Shane Graham, able to knock it through. With 15 seconds to play in this first quarter, Houston off to the fast start this afternoon. They have a 10-0 lead.
Yeah, great movement up front. You just see Arian Foster. He's very patient. So he sets the front. He gets the linebackers moving one way, and then he puts his foot in the ground and cuts it right back. And that's something that Arian Foster, I think, does as well as any back in the game.
6 plays, 41 yards in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. That terrific return by Trenton Holiday for 37 yards on the punt by Anger set it up to give Houston excellent field goal position. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, super agent Drew Rosenhaus represents the NFL's biggest stars at his story, plus British singer Adele on 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS.
I think our guy Drew Rosenhaus was in town last night. Must have some players on both of these teams, the Texans and the Jags. And saw him over at our hotel.
I'm told he was working the lobby.
Like any good agent, right? Work in the lobby. He's trying to get your business.
No, he walked up to our producer, Russ Schneider, and he said, "And you are who? And what do you do?" There's Jalen Parmalee on the return for Jacksonville. Gets it out to the 20-yard line. It's a 23-yard return with 10 seconds left in the quarter.
Well, really total domination. You look at total yards and really time of possession, and Jacksonville really has to get something going here on this drive. You get the sense that they're falling behind. They're not able to create offensively, and I think they've got to get Blaine Gabbert going.
Jacksonville finishing last in total offense last season. They go 5-11, last in total yards, last in passing. They score only 25 touchdowns for the season, and 4 of them were on returns. Gabbert just 2 of 4, 8 yards.
Well, you got 2 people moving. Somebody's got to stop and reset. Oh, that's a mess. How do you do that coming out of a stoppage like that to start the series? Just poor communication in that huddle.
And the Jaguars hearing that from the crowd, the confusion between Greg Jones, Cecil Shorts, Maurice Jones-Drew, and they have to use a timeout.
Well, smart play there by Greg Jones. You saw once both started moving, Greg stops and allows them to get reset, but clearly some communication issues there. You see Mike Mularkey talking to Blaine Gabbert.
How about Mike Mularkey telling us about his first head coaching experience in Buffalo, and then candidly saying he did not feel that he did a good job calling plays. So since then, he stayed away from that aspect, and he feels that his major task is managing the game.
Yeah, managing the game and helping Bob Bratkowski, his offensive coordinator, Greg Olson, the quarterback coach. And I think Mike is a sharp guy. I think he learned a lot from that experience in Buffalo.
The running back is Maurice Jones-Drew. Finds a hole, puts some moves on, gets across the 30. Beautifully done, and has a first down. Brady James, Danielle Manning combined to stop him, but he picked up 12, and that is the end of the first quarter here in Jacksonville. The Texans 10, the Jaguars nothing. We'll be back in Jacksonville after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Good start for the Texans in contrast to what took place at home last week against Miami, but Jacksonville in possession as the second quarter gets underway, and the Texans lead the Jaguars 10-0. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Gabbert to throw, facing pressure, and a penalty flag comes flying. Mercedes Lewis, played by Brian Cushing. Lewis, the intended receiver.
Illegal contact on the defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It is on the inside linebacker, Cushing. So it is the automatic first down.
And it's a challenge trying to cover a big tight end like Mercedes Lewis, 6'6" and 275 pounds. And
what is your thought with talking with Jonathan Joseph, the Houston corner, when he said what he remembers about Blaine Gabbert from last year is that he would flinch in the pocket as we look at Jones Drew again, set up as the feature back, and Gabbert's pass tipped. That's the second time it's been tipped. Now, is the flinching a concern, or is that a routine reaction at times? Rich, I've seen you flinch many times here on the broadcast.
Never on the football field, though, I hope. Look, this is something they've got to get cleaned up. Look, how many times we're going to see this out of this defense? Too soft in the protection, and I find it ironic, Marv, that we asked Blaine Gabbert about batted balls. He said he's not even worried about it. How can you not be worried about it? Did you not watch the tape last week? These guys led the National Football League in batted balls, 31 of them. You've got to keep reminding that offensive line to fire out and get their hands down.
Second down and 10. It is back to the ground. Jones Drew is handled after picking up 3 on the play. We've been talking about J.J. Watt, who goes 6'5", 295, and check out the wingspan.
Yeah, it's intimidating. Think about that. Look at Kevin Durant's height, bald Eagles wingspan, 7.5 footballs. You've got to do some things, I think, offensively to discourage this type of behavior. One of the things you do is when he jumps up, you fire out and you hit him right in the stomach, right in the chest. They don't like that.
Third down.
So it comes out to 6'10" and a half inch, and now a penalty is called on Jacksonville. They had too many men on.
Just the unforced errors, really. They're just making too many mistakes. A lot of them are communication.
They push it back to the 36-yard line.
Sub.
3rd and 12. Montel Owens has checked in. Gabbert taken down. First sack of the day for the Texans. It's a combination of Antonio Smith and J.J. Watt. So Watt has 2 on the season, and for Smith, it makes his first overall.
Well, they do a nice job, a little stunt, a little game on the outsides, and you see both Smith and J.J. Watt get there first, and you put yourself in big numbers on 3rd down. It's tough against this defense. They do a great job pressuring the quarterback.
Here's the punting unit. Anger back at his 13-yard line. Holiday, who had that terrific return in the last punt. This is a line drive, and Holiday able to play it at the 22. Lost his balance and was able to regain, and that is hit down inside the 30-yard on a 50-yarder. Another beautifully by Anger, 8-yard return, and Kyle Bosworth was able to get to Holiday. Early second quarter here in Jacksonville, and the Texans in front of the Jaguars. 10-0. 1st and 10 for Houston at their 31. Arian Foster, the running back. Foster looks to go outside, try to stiff arm, but he's hit back for a loss by Jeremy Mincy, the left defensive end, and it's a loss of a yard.
Well, Mincy's been impressive. He led them in sacks last year. Nice job bouncing this one. I see Mincy right there. He's not going to be fooled, and you got a good defensive line led by Jeremy Mincy.
Lily. 2nd down, 11. Job going underneath for Foster, comes up short of a first down. Stopped at the 39, picked up 8 on the play. What's going on between the Giants and the Bucks? Let's go to our New York studios, JB.
Hey, Marv, Rich Gannon can appreciate this Dan Marino-like throw.
Oh, hey, Eli Manning interception. Josh Freeman to Vincent Jackson, 29 yards for a touchdown.
Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, 3rd down and 2 for Houston. And Foster is stopped short of a first down. Picked up a yard. He was gang tackled at the 40-yard line.
Well, it was a big stop by Jacksonville. I think Arian Foster actually loses his footing here a little bit in the hole. You see him running off to that left side. Right here, he jumps into the cut. He's going to slip off with that right foot. And he can't fall forward and get that first down. And Gary talking to him about not forgetting those backside cuts against his Jacksonville defense.
All right, here's the punt by Donnie Jones. Mike Thomas in the sun field lets it bounce, and it is downed inside the 5-yard line by the Texans. Handled by Alan Ball. We'll be back in a moment. Rich, little mahi-mahi for you.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
I could go for one of them at halftime. But we can get that done.
I think the staff, if asked properly, because they can be tough. And Gabbard is incomplete. Crowd looking for a penalty. Cecil Shorts covered by Jonathan Joseph.
Well, that's the first throw we've seen today to wide receivers. And, you know, you spent all this money on Laurent Robinson and Justin Blackman. You're not throwing them the football. I mean, we're already into the second quarter. The field shrinks when you don't attack on the edges. And it just becomes so much more difficult, so much easier for that Texans defense just to worry about Maurice Jones-Drew all day. They've got to get these receivers involved in this game.
Gabbard incomplete his last 4. Goes to the ground, and not much there for Jones-Drew. Blaine Gabbard out of Baldwin, Missouri, which is right outside of St. Louis. Last year, threw just 12 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And talking with head coach Mike Malarkey the other day, he has emphasized rebuilding Gabbard's fundamentals and footwork, leaving the pocket too soon, as he pointed out. Can that all be turned around within a short time?
I think so. I think they're trying to improve his instincts in the pocket, get him more comfortable in there, have him better understand the protection scheme.
Well, Gabbard throwing from his end zone, but nothing there as Jones-Drew was well covered and stopped right at the line. Quentin Demps coming up from the safety spot to make the stop, and the punting unit will check in.
Well, a really alert play here by Demps. He's going to see Meester run out in front of the screen, and Demps does a nice job fighting off the block and coming up to make the play on Maurice Jones-Drew. Just a good alert play by Quentin Demps.
So once again, we'll see Brian Anger, the rookie punter out of the University of California, who has been excellent in his first half. Got the hang time, and here comes Holiday. 45, 50, and good coverage. But a penalty marker is down, a 57-yarder and a 14-yard return. It's quite a bit of criticism when the Jaguars went for the punter, Brian Anger, as a third-round draft pick. And on draft day, Mike Malarkey kiddingly said he's a really good holder for extra points and field goals.
Well, the one thing he can do is change field position dramatically, and that's what we've seen so far from Anger this preseason in the first 2 games. Very, very talented
During the
punter.
return, illegal block in the back, number 54, the return team. Be a 10-yard penalty.
It is called on Mr. Alexander, a special teams man. So when we come back, it'll be Matt Schaub and his Texans back to the offense. There's Mr. Alexander of the Texans, second-year man from Florida State. His dad named him Mr. to verbally represent MR, which stands for mentally ready. Now, Rich, can you picture him as a kid in kindergarten, the teacher calling the kids Johnny, Bobby, Tommy, Mr. Alexander?
How about that, Mr. Alexander?
Yeah.
Mr. Alexander right now, Marv, struggling a little bit with this heat and humidity down here in Jacksonville. It's no joke.
No, 85 degrees at game time and hot and humid. Houston ball, 1st and 10 at their 42. They lead the Jaguars 10-0. Ben Tate returns to the backfield. The quarterback is Matt Schaub. Play fake and the screen set up for Tate. Tate ankle tackle. Good job by Rasheem Mathis, the nickelback It's a 2-yard gain. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. 2nd and 8 for the Texans. Tate remains in the backfield. 5 minutes gone by, second quarter. The swing pass is caught by the tight end Daniels, just short of the marker. Met by the left corner Aaron Ross. Ross, the one-time Giant in his 6th season out of Texas. That's a 5-yard pickup. It'll be a 3rd down and 2, and now here's Arian Foster back coming on for Ben Tate.
Well, that's the one thing about this Texans offense. You've always got a fresh back in the game. They can wear down a defense over 4 quarters.
This crowd looking to urge on the Jaguars defensive unit. Job on a screen. He completes for the first down and more. Foster in the open field. Able to work his way across the 35, and that's a pickup of 18 and a first down.
Well, somebody blows an assignment here. They're going to fake the ball to Arian Foster, and then he's just going to work right back out into the flat. And see, actually what happens is the linebacker gets picked. You see Russell Allen, he's got Arian Foster in man-to-man coverage, and he's going to get picked by the crossing route.
Houston, 1st and 10 from their 33. Foster remaining in the backfield. Foster, see him picking his way, finding the hole, gets inside the 25. Mincy makes the stop, so Foster goes for 9 more.
Well, they want to get this guy going, Arian Foster, and here's the cut. One cut and downhill. Now watch him slide right back upfield, and he's a tough back to bring down in the open field. Talked about Eric Dickerson. Here's another back that runs with great vision.
5-6. Yeah, 5-1.
2nd down and a yard. Foster picks it up, has another Texan first down. Branch made the stop, and we talked earlier about Arian Foster following along the running style of his hero, Eric Dickerson. Kind of glides, finds spots, able to look ahead. How about Foster, who was a philosophy major at the University of Tennessee, and rich like yourself, an avid writer of poetry. Ben Tate on the fake, and then Schaub is able to complete inside the 10. A beautiful play fake, and then he hit Kevin Walter. Picked up 14, and it's a 1st and goal for the Texans.
Well, just such a nice job with their play action game, and they get you thinking Arian Foster, and all of a sudden they pull it out, and you forget about Kevin Walter working right down the middle of the field.
Nice balance of play selection, as you just saw. Tate returns to the backfield. Tate, the ball carrier. Tate fires his play. Would not go down, and it looks like he's in for the touchdown. An 8-yard run for Tate. The officials did not give it the quick indication, but Tate pulled his way across the goal line for the score.
Well, great movement inside. You're going to see the double team on the left side of your screen on Mosley, and they just push him back. Look at all the bodies going backwards. An impressive run, impressive finish by Ben Tate.
7 plays, 58 yards, and 3 minutes and 34 seconds. And Houston is off to the excellent start. A reverse of what took place in their home opener a week ago.
We talked about getting that running game cranked back up, and that's what we've seen so far here in the first half with both Arian Foster and Ben Tate.
This is Shane Graham putting it through. Texans with a 17-0 lead on Jacksonville. Here is Tate ramming his way in. Unstoppable. Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida, and the Texans have a 17-0 lead on the Jaguars. Arian Foster, 9 carries, 25 yards. He's one of those guys who seems to get better and better as the game progresses, and Ben Tate off to the good start.
We talked about that magic number in the open, 30 carries between the two of them, already halfway there with 6:49 to go in the second quarter.
The man is Jalen Parmalee. Takes it at the goal line. Out to the 20. Picks up steam and nice return. The kicker, Shane Graham, was able to get to him. It's a 38-yard return by the one-time Raven, Parmalee.
And when you're struggling on offense, you need either a big play on defense, by your defense, or in the kicking game. So a good return there by Parmalee. Now Blaine Gabbert's got to find a way to get something going here offensively. Just no production in the passing game. Look at that, three completions in 7 attempts, just for 7 yards.
Rich is down 17-0. They keep talking about he needs confidence. How do you instill confidence in this type of scenario?
I think you start throwing it on first down to these receivers. Find a way to get Justin Blackman going a little bit. There you go.
Has time and throws it wide. Pass intended for the rookie Blackman, who was well covered by Jonathan Joseph.
Well, you look at the first 4 possessions today, that's ugly. I mean, they're just not getting any production. You see Mike Malarkey there. He's looking at his play sheet, trying to help out Bob Bradkowski. Got to find a way to get the quarterback going. We talk about get him in rhythm. Well, how do you do that? High completion throws on the early downs. Screens. Check downs. Get the backs involved in the passing game.
This is Jones Drew. Not able to get going. He's a guy, when he's at peak performance, who is so difficult to tackle because of his strength, his balance, low center of gravity, but he missed the entire training camp, although he said he kept himself in excellent shape. He did return, probably played more than expected last week because of the injury suffered by Rashad Jennings, who had the good camp. And Jennings is out today, sidelined by a sprained MCL rather.
5 minutes.
Third down and 4. Gabbert angles it, and it is slightly off. Really a terrific catch by the rookie Blackman, who was covered by Quinn.
Well, they're having a very difficult time right now defeating man-to-man coverage. You see, they've played a lot of man coverage on Justin Blackman. He's going to be manned up right here, and do a nice job matching up, and he can't beat Quinn. And you need a better throw there by Blaine Gabbert to get it done.
Blackman out of Oklahoma State, first-round draft pick, the 5th selection overall. Holiday is back. And here is the boot by Anger. Again, gets the good hang time, and a fair catch called for by Holiday. 41-yard punt by the rookie Brian Anger. Wednesday in prime time with JB, Chris Collinsworth, and Phil Simms, bringing you their unique view of America's Sunday pastime that you will not find anyplace else. It is inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime. Look at that stat line for the Jaguars.
That's ugly. You can see Greg Olson there to your left, the quarterback coach, who did a great job with Josh Freeman down in Tampa. He worked with Mark Bolger. He coached some really good players at the college level, one of them being Drew Brees, and of course Bledsoe out of Washington State. So I think he's the right guy to get Blaine Gabbert going here in Jacksonville.
Houston first out at their 15-yard line. Nice play fake, and Schaub able to go underneath for Daniels. Gets it out to the 20-yard line. Schaub is now 14 of 17, 112 yards, and he is connected on his last 9 passes.
And he's doing a nice job spreading the ball around, but he hasn't found a way to get that guy going, Andre Johnson. And Jacksonville doing a good job rolling coverage that way, double covering Andre Johnson. You don't want him to take over a game.
Last week against Miami, 8 catches, 119 yards, including a spectacular touchdown grab. Foster gets the call, picked up 3 yards. Houston Texans last year 10-6, first in the AFC South, first ever playoff berth in their 10th season of existence. First playoff victory, defeated the Bengals before losing to the Ravens in Baltimore in the divisional round. They were an outside pick by many people to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about people outside of the state of Texas. Here's Foster finding running room, spinning his way across the 40-yard line. Stopped by the free safety, Dwight Lowry. 17-yard run by Foster.
Well, one of the strengths of this unit a season ago was the play of the offensive line. This is a group that started almost every game together. You just look at the push they're getting there, and you allow a guy like Arian Foster to get up on the second level of a defense, and it's going to be a long day for Jacksonville.
Ben Tate has returned, which is not necessarily great news for the Jaguars. Schaub had a long look and now floats one that is thrown away, intended for James Casey, the fullback coming out of the backfield, covered by Dwight Lowry.
Bit of a dangerous throw there from Matt Schaub, trying to just throw that one away in the flat to the fullback Casey. You get a good look at Arian Foster over there on the sidelines, and again, that's one of the benefits of having another back like Ben Tate. You can get Arian Foster out, get him a breather, and get him back in there with some fresh legs.
And Arian now the franchise leader in rushing yards. Schaub completes again. It's short of the first down. Picked up 6, connecting with James Casey, the Jacksonville coaching staff. Very wary of James Casey, a 4-year man out of Rice. 6'3", 240. He's a fullback who played tight end in college.
Yeah, converted tight end, and a guy that's really fits what they're trying to do there. He can move him around. He can play H-back. He can line up and block for the two backs, Foster and Tate. And he's got very good hands as well, so he's very active in the passing game.
Keyshawn Martin now flanks out to the right, and timeout is taken by the Texans. 3 minutes and 5 seconds to play in this first half. Gary Kubiak's team is off to the good start. They lead the Jaguars 17-0. And coming up on the Verizon halftime report, join JD, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. A look in. Boomer subtly asking producer Eric Mann for more on-camera time. I've been told in my headset it is not a subtle request.
Sure, it's something that happens all the time with our guy Boom.
That's coming up on the Verizon halftime report. The guys are in position.
They're ready to go with some great updates. You know, you look at this Houston offense, and you've got to kind of pick your poison if you're Jacksonville defensively. We've seen them roll a lot of coverage to Andre Johnson. They've had Ross over there. He's had help with the safety, so they're trying to take Andre Johnson out. Then you've got Owen Daniels making plays. You've got Walter making plays. You've got both backs. Do a good job spreading the ball around on offense.
Andre Johnson flanked to the right. That's Foster in motion. Schaub incomplete. Owen Daniels certainly had a shot at it.
I think he just jumps too soon rather than just keep running right through that ball. That Schaub does a nice job here putting some air on it. He knows that he's got him down the seam. Now just keep running. Just fought that one. Just run right through the intersection there. That one goes right through Owen Daniels' hands, and that's not something we see too often from their tight end.
Punting situation, Donnie Jones, 9-year man from LSU, kicking away to Mike Thomas, awaiting the punt at the 10, and lets it bounce into the end zone. So they bring it out to the 20, goes down as a 52-yarder for Jones.
Well, we've been looking at J.J. Watt here through the first half, Marv, and I just think he's a complete player at the defensive end position. And he can do it all. He plays the run real well. You've seen a number of times last week, this week, 2 batted balls already. He does a great job disrupting the quarterback. He can get pressure on the quarterback. You see him here teaming up on a sack. He doesn't take plays off. He's got a big-time motor. The thing that I like about J.J. Watt, he has fun playing the game.
And has a unique sense of humor. He was asked during the course of the week, because of all the tips that he comes up with, how does he explain it? He said he plays volleyball twice a week.
That's it.
Yes. First down play for Gabbert, cannot find anyone. Flag is down, and his pass comes up short. Intended for LaRon Robinson. JJ also saying that last week, as we
Holding,
got the call,
offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, first down.
it is on Herb Chandler, who is making his first appearance for the Jaguars, signed just last week, playing for the injured Evan Britton.
Well, one of the problems that Blaine Gabbert's having right now is the defensive backs are running the routes for him. You've got to do a better job if you're Blackman selling the route. I mean, you see what great coverage there by Kareem Jackson. He literally runs that curl route and jumps right in front of what would have been an easy interception had Blaine Gabbert decided to throw that direction.
The other point Watt made in watching the weekly show Hard Knocks, he claims that he picked up the count, the snap count, on the Miami Dolphins by watching the entire series. LaRon Robinson, the intended receiver. J.J. Watt on the attempted pressure, not quite able to get to Gabbert till the last instant. Last year as a rookie, 5.5 sacks. Superb season, made the all-rookie team, and it is raining here in Jacksonville. We've had about 10-20 minutes of rain every day since we've been here. So the rain is falling and fans are headed for protection. Here's Gabbert in trouble, and he's taken down in the end zone. No sign yet.
Well, they're going to have a conference here to decide whether or not it's a safety. I think his forward progress kept him out of the end zone. But Blaine Gabbert turns right back into an easy sack. Pressure up top first. You see him, now he has to wheel back out, and when he does, he runs right into the arms of Brooks Reed. That's just too easy for the outside linebacker.
Well, they placed it inside the 1.
Second charge timeout.
He's fortunate that he was not called for a safety.
To 2 minutes, 28 seconds.
Timeout taken. Timeout called by the Texans with 2:28 left in this first half. I don't know, Rich. What do you think here?
Well, maybe they're calling the forward progress right there, but then he pulls him back in the end zone. I think it's the right call. I think the line judge on the side made that call, and I think it was the right call in that situation. But boy, Blaine Gabbert does not look comfortable, Marvin. They've not been good on the early downs. You look at these numbers. I mean, my gosh, 3rd and 29. Not a lot of plays on that play sheet for 3rd and 29, and they have yet to convert a 3rd down today. Look at that, minus 10 passing yards. 0 for 5 on 3rd downs. They're just not creating any separation at the wide receiver position.
Brooks Reed came up with a sack, so all told, it's 2 full sacks credit to Houston, a half apiece to Watt and Smith.
Jonathan Joseph and Kareem Jackson dominating these Jacksonville receivers.
Gabbert working out of the shotgun. Here they come, gets it away. Gets it out of immediate trouble with the completion to Robinson. Ron Robinson, 6-year man out of Illinois State, picked up 6 on the play. That's his first catch of the afternoon.
This is a very athletic defense as you look at them. And you look at the linebacking core, and they all run and tackle well. They're physical, and they play really well in space. You better be careful when you start running back inside. That Brian Cushing right there, ready to take your head off.
Timeout taken by the Texans. That's their final timeout. When we resume, it is a 4th and very long. 4th and 23. Brian Cushing shaken up, getting a rest. He came into today with some rib injury.
He's so athletic. I mean, he plays the run well. He's great in coverage, and he can rush the passer. And he's also not playing with a full deck. You just watch him in pregame warmups.
Yes.
I mean, this is not good for the concussion studies, I would imagine. That's how some guys get themselves ready to play. Some guys not playing, as I said, with a full deck.
I wonder if they will try to put a stop to that in warmups. I know it's all about getting into it, feeling the contact. So that punt which was tough to handle, is drifting off, muffed by Holiday, but it carried out of bounds, drifting to the near side. And it's a 60-yard punt from Brian Anger, who has been the most positive aspect of the day for the Jaguars.
And you see Holiday there bobble that one. This guy, as you mentioned, Marv, he's got tremendous speed, but he's got to learn to secure the ball. He's on the ground too many times when you watch him.
Coming up on 2 minutes to go in this first half. Houston starting out from the 33. In command, 17-0. Handoff to Foster. Able to break a tackle as he reaches across the 40, met by the free safety Dwight Lowry, and that'll take us to the 2. Picked up 8, and we will step away. Rating here in Jacksonville. Texans 17, Jaguars nothing. Rain continues to fall here in northern Florida, and as you can see, the Texans have had great success in the final 2 minutes, as they did last week after the bad start against Miami. They exploded. Houston back in possession, and Schaub coming up short. Looked like that ball was tipped. Going to be a second down and 10 with just under 2 minutes to play in this first half. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. Texans trying to go 2-0. They have a tough schedule coming up. Next week they go up against Peyton Manning in Denver, then home for Tennessee. At the Jets on a Monday night, followed by home games against Green Bay and Baltimore. Got the result of their 10-6 season a year ago. Here's Foster finding running room and has a first down. So Arian Foster has picked it up. Posluszny able to get to him. It's a 16-yard advance.
And one of the things that Arian Foster does such a great job is he's very patient. He lets this offensive line get out in front of him. You're going to see Myers, the center. He gets out there. You got the tackle. And he's very tough to bring down in the open field. A shifty back.
70 yards on the ground for Foster. That was tipped and incomplete. Tipped by Andre Branch, the right defensive end, and Andre Johnson was the intended receiver.
I've been impressed by Andre Branch, their second-round pick. Thought he played well last week, and you can see he's going to find a way to jump up and get his hands on this ball. Taking a little something for J.J. Watt to see. He spent a lot of time in Jacksonville's part of the field.
Foster, the running back to the left of Schaub, who will throw deep downfield, and it is incomplete. Intended for Keyshawn Martin, covered by William Middleton. Middleton, the right corner, playing for the injured Derek Cox.
Well, they're banged up at the secondary. You mentioned Cox, Marv. He's out with the hamstring, and Mathis still working his way back from the knee surgery. He's playing the nickel, and you lose one of your best defensive players, Darryl Smith. He's still out, so not exactly 100% on defense. That gives these other guys an opportunity. A guy like William Middleton to play more snaps in their base defense.
3rd and 10, Schaub to Foster to the 40 and short of a first down, picked up 5. Of course, everyone suffers through injuries during the course of the season. Ask Houston about it last year, even though they were able to hold on. TJ Yates coming on effectively from Matt Schaub, and they got help in other areas, but Jacksonville has been beaten up, particularly on the offensive line, missing 2 of their starters, going with a guy they signed earlier this week, and you also mentioned Darryl Smith and Derek Cox on the defensive side.
10 players already on injury reserve. They had 27 last year. It's hard to win football games when you're playing with guys you just bringing off the street on Tuesday and Wednesday.
4th down and 5, and they're going to let the clock run down, and now it's delay of game, and that will lead to the punting unit coming back on.
A pretty efficient first half for Matt Schaub. I think he's looked good. 16 of 24, 123 yards. Done a nice job spreading it around. They've gotten this running game going. They've taken advantage of some good field position. It's always bothered me when you get behind 17-0, a couple scores, and all of a sudden it starts to rain. And you got to throw the football as a quarterback. It makes your job even more difficult. They need something big to happen. They need Mike Thomas to take one back. They need a big play on special teams to kind of jumpstart this offense. This would be huge. Some momentum as they go into the locker room at halftime.
Thomas, the 4-year man from Arizona, awaits the punt back at the 10.
They weren't great last week with their return units. They put a bunch on the ground. Mike Thomas fumbled one.
Selected not to take a 10-second runoff of the game clock. It's 4th down.
So Jacksonville did not take the 10-second runoff. Apparently it was a flag that was tossed, which was the delay of game. And this one hops into the end zone. It's a 45-yard punt. They bring it out to the 20-yard line with 19 seconds to play.
Well, we talked about the injury reserve. Look at that, 10 guys already. And you kind of feel for Mike Mularkey a little bit. He's made no excuses. He's going to coach up the players that we have. Didn't have Maurice Jones-Drew for most of the preseason. And last week I thought they had a chance to do something special up in Minnesota. They head up to Minnesota. They've got it close. They did some good things. I think some things to build on. But boy, just an awful start here in the first half as you look at Darryl Smith.
Last week they led by 3 with 14 seconds left. Minnesota ties the game on a 55-yard field goal and then win it in overtime on a field goal. Jones-Drew picks up a couple. They're not going to take any chances. Let it run out and hear it from the crowd. So that is the end of the first half. It's been all Texans. They lead the Jaguars 17-0. Back with a Verizon halftime after this message and a word from your local.
Let's ride on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's ride.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida, as we take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. Blake Gabbert, a very difficult first half due to J.J. Watt coming up with a couple of tips. Well, for the Houston Texans, just a tremendous effort in the first half. Jacksonville Jaguars, a disaster.
Yeah, just 43 yards of offense. They've not converted a 3rd down, and they can't find a way to get Blaine Gabbert going. It's just they've got to be able to make some adjustments at halftime. I think one of the things they've got to do is be able to throw the ball a little bit more in the early downs, get the receivers more involved. The field really shrinks if you're just concentrating on Maurice Jones-Drew, and that's what the Texans have been able to do defensively.
Did I see the numbers -4 in terms of passing yards for Jacksonville?
I think that's a new record, one that they're not going to be very proud of when you look at just how poorly they played here in the first half. And look at time of possession. They're not converting first downs. They're not 3rd downs, and they're just not moving the football. Just 43 yards of offense, and an anemic performance from the Jaguars.
Well, the offensive line has certainly not been a help to Blaine Gabbert, and it's a injury hit offensive line without Evan Britton, their starting left guard. Guy Wimper is at right tackle, starting for their usual starter there, Cameron Bradfield. And on top of that, we have seen a host of missed tackles on the part of the Jaguars.
Yeah, it's not been a pretty first half, and I don't know what you say to this football team at halftime, but this is an important possession here, I think, for Jacksonville. They've got to come away with some points here to get back in this game.
Jaguars will receive the kickoff. Jalen Parmalee, the 3-year man from Toledo, one-time member of the Baltimore Ravens, is back deep for Shane Graham. Looks like the rain has stopped, and Graham puts it out of the end zone, so they bring it out to the 20-yard line. Jaguars last week losing in Minnesota to the Vikings in overtime after leading by 3 points with 14 seconds left. Not an easy week to spend after a loss like that.
It's never easy to watch that film, but I thought there were some positives, some things that they could build on, and they just haven't been able to do that here today. I thought Gabbert did a nice job getting the ball out quick. His completion percentage was pretty solid. They didn't turn the ball over in terms of the interceptions. Boy, first down has been an ugly down for Jacksonville today.
And Maurice Jones-Drew to this point has not been able to get going. Jones-Drew gets the call, picked up 5 on the play. I'd look at last week in Minnesota. This was 14 seconds remaining, and they line it up for a 55-yard field goal. And then the Vikings in overtime do it again. The rookie Blaine Walsh able to connect. Justin Blackman diving for it, but it is incomplete. So it'll be a 3rd down and 5 at the 25-yard line.
Well, you look at Justin Blackman there, 2-time Blitnikoff Award winner at Oklahoma State and nation's top receiver. Just hasn't been able to make the difficult catch, and that's, you've seen a bunch of them today, or a number of them in his direction that have been lower and away from his body, and he and Gabbert not been able to get on the same page.
Montel Owens, number 24 now in the backfield, standing to the left of Gabbert. And Gabbert's pass is incomplete. The receiver, the intended receiver, Mike Thomas, got tripped up. No penalty called. And it is another 3 and out for the Jaguars.
You know, as I watch Blaine Gabbert, it's easy for us to sit here and be critical of him, but you watch the receivers downfield, and they're just being covered by the defensive backs for the Texans. I mean, they are just, they're not giving them any room. And somebody's got to win. Somebody has to beat man-to-man coverage.
How about 5 3 and outs for Jacksonville? Trimble Holiday backpedals, picks up a blocker, works to the 30, and taken down, but a flag is tossed. Montel Owens making the stop. 58-yard punt, 14-yard return by Holiday. Mentioned the referee is David White, one of the replacement officials. Works as an attorney, attending Vanderbilt University. He has officiated in Division II. And to this point, it's been a, let's say, a mild day in terms of officiating.
Illegal block in the back on the return team, number 27. A 10-yard penalty.
Call is on Quentin Demp's backup strong safety. Early 3rd. We'll be back to Jacksonville in a moment. Well, the sunshine has returned, although you can see these storm clouds in the backdrop of the stadium. Texans take over. 1st and 10, but a marker is down. Look to be the right tackle, Derek Newton.
Ball start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
It is Newton. Hey, not too late to play NFL.com Fantasy Football. Sign up today for the official fantasy game of the NFL at NFL.com/fantasy. Foster and Casey lined up in the eye, and the handoff to Foster tripped up at the line. Kyle Bosworth starting for the injured Darrell Smith for the 2nd straight week. Ready to stop?
They were busy in the first half. Marvy talked about time of possession. Had the ball almost 20 minutes in the first half, and they were able to come away with 17 points. Some effective drives there, mixed in with a handful of punts, but did turn the football over. I just thought Matt Schaub was outstanding.
2nd down and 16 now for Schaub, who swings it out, and nothing there. Foster taken down back behind the line by the middle linebacker, Paul Posluszny.
Well, in fairness to this Jacksonville defense, I mean, they've been on the field a lot. You're going to see Posluszny. He knows he's got Arian Foster man-to-man. He's not going to give him a lot of room. You've got to close the gap between a back like Arian Foster and yourself. because he can make linebackers miss very easily.
It's a loss of 5, setting it back to a third and 22. Foster in the backfield. Foster looking for the angle and could not make the turn at the edge. Gets across the 10. He went for 5. And they go 3 and out.
Well, very good series there by Jacksonville defensively. You see Buzz Leslie coming off the field, and they got to do something special. I mean, they've got to get 3 and outs. They've got to maybe create a turnover and get this offense going a little bit. Talking about a big play on special teams. Something to get this crowd back in this game.
Donnie Jones from his end zone, punting to Mike Thomas. Comes up for him to midfield. Now to the 40, inside the 40, so good field position for the Jaguars. Bryce McCain on the stop, 44-yard punt, 18-yard return.
Thank you.
Rich, very fan-friendly here. They were giving away fried shrimp cocktails, as you well know, before the game. They had to pull you away after a half hour.
Absolutely. If it's free, it's for me. You know that, Marv.
And what do you do here? Do you take your shot?
I think you have to go after the secondary a little bit. They're playing off now, so you have to probably throw this one underneath.
And here it is. They take the shot. Downfield, it's caught by LaRon Robinson. Down at the 5.
Well, you and I were just talking during the break. You can't give these corners a free pass. You can't give them a day off. You got to make them work as well. You've got a good field position now. We talked about throwing the ball a little bit on first down. A very nice throw by Blaine Gabbert. He fits that one in between the corner and the safety.
32-yard pass play and a 1st and goal at the 5. This, incidentally, the best starting field position of the day at the Houston 37. Jones-Drew is the running back. Gabbert out of the gun. Rolling left, then right, throws. It is caught. Touchdown! Touchdown, Jacksonville! What an adjustment by Maurice Jones-Drew to come back for it and then make the turn.
A nice job by Blaine Gabbert giving Maurice Jones-Drew a chance to make a play on the ball. They got what they were looking for. They got Maurice Jones-Drew matched up on the linebacker, Brady James. You'll see the action away, and you're going to see MJD. He slips out. He actually falls down like he's going to cut, block, and he gets back up.
Well, that gets this crowd going as Josh Scobie comes on for the extra point. Had one block last week. This one is right through. 2 plays, 37 yards off the long pass down to the 5-yard line to LaRon Robinson. Jaguars back in it.
We're back here in Jacksonville. I want you to keep an eye on Maurice Jones-Drew and also keep an eye on the linebacker, Brady James. He's got him in man-to-man coverage. You're going to see the action away. And then watch Maurice Jones-Drew. He's going to go on the ground. That's just enough to force the linebacker to take a peek back inside. By the time he does, Maurice Jones-Drew is able to get behind him. He adjusts to an underthrow by Blaine Gabbert, and they get the easy touchdown. But it's all about illusion in disguise. Really nice execution there by Jacksonville.
Maurice Jones-Drew has cashed in against the Texans the past few years. Trenton Holiday, who can run, is back deep and will run it out. Angles to the left. And he comes across the 15-yard line. 28-yard return for Holiday. Well, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Rich, did you write this promotional announcement?
I did, Marv. Just read it, please.
All right. Don't miss Rich Gannon. Oh, yes, Phil Simms. And Steve Berline on NFL Monday Quarterback tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network.
Well done.
24-hour home of CBS Sports. Job completes to Andre Johnson across the 20, picked up 3. Russell Allen, the outside linebacker, is is right there. Rich, I should point out, is actually the centerpiece of the show. Phil and Steve are merely, at best, co-stars.
I can't get a word in edgewise. I've got Berline on one side, I've got Sims on the other side. It's tough.
Adam Shine hosting. Schaub to throw. And it's knocked loose, incomplete. Intended for Owen Daniels. Had it for an instant and then was knocked out of his hand.
Yeah, you got to be able to squeeze that. We've seen Owen Daniels now drop a couple today, and this is a good throw here. He just goes right through him. He's going to get squeezed a little bit by Aaron Ross and Kyle Bosworth.
This crowd has come to life following that touchdown pass. 3rd down and 7 from the 23. Schaub off the mark. Pass intended for Andre Johnson, but a flag is down.
Offside, defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's called on the rookie, 2nd-round pick out of Clemson, Andre Branch, who's making his first NFL start. He's at right defensive end.
Well, they're not good enough right now to be able to overcome all the mistakes. The missed assignments and the mental errors just killing them right now.
3rd down and 2. Houston at its 28 with Foster in the backfield. Foster gets out to the marker. Let's see where they spot it. It appears that he did pick it up.
Now Russell Allen's got the ball in his hands. They're going to say he was down. You think about getting a stop on 3rd and 7. You have the penalty. Now you give Houston another opportunity. I think he's down. I think he gets ripped out when his knee's on the ground.
1st down for Houston. Ben Tate has come on. Nice play action by Schaub, and it was caught by Tate. Runs it out of bounds. He's short of the marker. Picked up about 7. Kyle Bosworth starting for the injured Darrell Smith, making the stop.
We always talk about practice what you preach, and one of the things Matt Schaub told us last night is I've got to be patient. We're going to take our shots, but if it's not there down the field against this soft 2-deep coverage, I've got to be willing to check it down. He's done that a lot today.
Tate remains as the lone deep back. Tate. Nice stutter step move and has a 1st down up near the 45-yard line. He went for 7. DeJuan Landry, the strong safety, on the stop. Just over 5 minutes gone by in this 3rd quarter. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon were in Jacksonville. Texans jumping in front 17-0 moments ago. Gabbert throwing a touchdown pass after struggling throughout the first half. First down play, and nothing there for Tate. Ben Tate in his 3rd season out of Auburn last year. He ran for 942 yards. He made it back after missing his rookie year with a broken leg.
Really nice penetration on the left side. You're going to see Alu and Mosley. A good pushback up in there. And see Bosworth coming in, nowhere for Ben Tate to go.
But a strong game for Tate. 7 carries, 56 yards. They continue the rotation. Foster in the backfield to the right of Schaub. The pass to the near side at the marker, caught by Andre Johnson. A 1st down for the Texans. Combination of Ross and Lowry on the coverage of Johnson, who picked up 11.
A really nice throw here by Matt Schaub. You're going to see the ISO. Aaron Ross just a little soft, and they throw it right on the back shoulder here. That's a tough route to defend, and you got to be aware of the sticks. They got him turned. Very difficult for those corners to open their hips back up once you get them turned.
3rd catch for Johnson, 21 yards. Schaub with the handoff. And Foster fights his way inside the 40, met by Jeremy Mincy.
You see all these runs cut back to the backside, Marvin. I think you look at Chris Myers, the Pro Bowl center, a guy that you kind of pointed out in the introductions. I mean, he does such a great job working in tandem, working in unison with those guards on either side of him, and coming off on the second level, getting ahead on those linebackers and open up some big cutback lanes for these backs.
Second down and 4 off the toss. Foster trying to pick his way, and he is shy of a first down. Stop by William Middleton. He picked up 3 on the play. And we're set for an update. Let's go to JB and Dan.
Arizona giving New England all they can handle.
Oh, you're right, JB. After a New England block punt, Kevin Cobb, 2-yard touchdown pass to Andre Roberts, putting Arizona up 13-9.
That with 2:50 left in the third. Back to Marv and Rich.
The long look goes to Tate, tries to spin, cuts back. Oh, what a move by Ben Tate to pick up the first down, and he's hauled down finally by the outside linebacker, Russell Allen.
Well, that's great second effort there by Ben Tate. Looked like there was some confusion when the quarterback came out from center, kicks it out wide to Tate. Look, he's looking for the back. He's looking downfield. Now all of a sudden he just decides to kick it out there to Ben Tate, and Ben Tate does all this on his own. Just great individual effort.
Texans first down at the 33 in Jaguar territory. Now Tate runs into a crowd. Picked up perhaps 2. Just under 6 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Now Arian Foster will come on. Arian Foster has had back-to-back seasons of 1,200-plus yards, led the NFL in rushing 2 years ago. So this is a game that features the rushing title winners from the last 2 years. Foster 2 years ago, and Maurice Jones-Drew last season. He'll shove over in the middle. Garrett Graham, the backup tight end, for 15, making his first catch of the season. He's a 3-year man out of Wisconsin, only 1 catch his first 2 years, but he played behind Owen Daniels and Joel Dreesen, who is now with Denver, signing as a free agent.
They do a great job creating the matchups, getting the tight end lined up on the middle linebacker, Paul Posluszny.
This is the 13th play of the drive for the Texans. And a 1st and 10. Foster with running room, pulls his way inside the 10-yard line.
You just get the sense that this defense is starting to wear down. You look at time of possession. Houston's had the ball 28 minutes to just 12 minutes and 12 seconds for Jacksonville. They keep rotating these fresh backs in the game, Arian Foster and Ben Tate, and you can just see Jacksonville's been on the defense has been on the field way too long.
Second down and 2 as Foster picked up 8. Here's Foster. He's gunning for the first down and has it. It'll be a 1st and goal for the Texans. Like Foster shaking up. Is all right?
So he got hit in the head. We've been talking about the time of possession. I mean, this is utter dominance by the Texans. Jacksonville's really struggled on third down. It's been a big story today. 0 for 7 on third down. And Tate and Foster, between them, 29 carries. We talked about 30, Marv, being that magic number. I mean, we still have 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and between them, they've got 29 touches.
We talked last night with Gary Kubiak. What do you think the ratio will be in terms of Foster and Tate? They are measuring, as you see. I thought he picked it up. And they are just short inches. Kubiak said usually 3-1. Today it might be closer to 2-1 in favor of Foster in terms of how many carries he gets, and that's about what it's been.
I think they're very aware of the heat and humidity, and again, you want to make sure that you've always got a fresh back in the game. And the confidence that they have in Ben Tate is huge. He can run any of the plays that Arian Foster runs behind Matt Schaub.
15th play of the drive that began at the 20. They've had the ball for 7.5 minutes. Foster tried to change direction, was able to cut inside, picked up 3 and the first down.
I don't think we're going to see a lot of quarterback sneaks with Matt Schaub this year. Remember, Marv, you and I were doing that game in Tampa last year. That's how he hurt that foot, that Liz Frank injury on a quarterback sneak against Tampa. We just saw a third and less than a yard and decide to hand it off. If I'm Matt Schaub, they better not be calling any quarterback sneaks with me this season.
And he had been rolling along, a record of 7-3 in the regular season. First and goal. Foster. Talking about that injury. It's called a Liz Frank injury in the right foot on that quarterback sneak against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that led to injured reserve. It led first to Matt Leinart. He got hurt, and then T.J. Yates, who did a good job in taking over from Schaub, and then Leinart ending up in the playoffs, winning a playoff game. Tate now in the backfield. Second down and goal. Here's Tate driving forward. He's in. Touchdown. He's him. A big hole for Ben Tate.
All right, just watch the movement up front. They do a nice job getting up on the second level and getting some blocks on the linebackers, and that's just too easy for a back like Ben Tate.
Now, but 17 plays, 80 yards. They had the ball for 9 minutes, 14 seconds. Shane Graham puts it through, and the Texans right back to take a 24-7 lead here in Jacksonville. Houston Texans with a combination of Arian Foster, Ben Tate, sharp play from quarterback Matt Schaub, and now extended to a 24-7 lead on the Jaguars. Parmalee fields the kick. Out across the 20, and he's bottled up shy of the 25-yard line. He ran it for 18, stopped by Tim Dobbins. We'll be back in a moment. Moments ago, Blaine Gabbert finally able to put together a drive with a couple of nice passes to get the Jaguars on the board, but they're down here 24-7. Jones-Drew is in the backfield, but Gabbert will throw deep down the left side, and it is incomplete, intended for Cecil Shorts.
When we go back and you look at the scoring play, we talk about the zone run scheme. Myers is going to cut off. Here's the big block on the back side. You're going to see the right guard, Ben Jones. He gets up on the linebacker. They cut off the backside with Derek Newton. And this is just easy for Ben Tate when they do a nice job blocking and getting up on the second level. And that's the beauty of that zone run scheme that the Texans run so well.
Well, the numbers: Tate 10 carries, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Foster 22 carries, 99 yards, including a touchdown. Well, Jones-Drew tried to cut back and could not. He had the 6'5" J.J. Watt all over him.
Well, they haven't had a lot of answers for J.J. Watt today. He's made plays in the running game. He's been disruptive in the passing game. Well, he just spins off of that block. And we talked about that wingspan. That's hard for Maurice Jones-Drew to run away from.
Lost 4 on the play. And I would think, although I think people were surprised as to how well Jones-Drew did last week after the 38-day holdout, it's going to take some time when you talk about the normal quickness we see from Jones-Drew. Third down, 14. Gabbert had time, and it is caught by Maurice Jones-Drew. Picked up just 3. Cushing is there. And once again, we get a look at Brian Anger, who has had a terrific day. He is the punter selected on the 3rd round. Most unusual for a punter to be taken on the 3rd round. But I remember a conversation we had with you, and you said, hey, no, I can understand it. Look what Shane Leckler did for us with the Oakland Raiders.
He is such a weapon, and you think about a guy like Anger, I mean, he can really change field position. And with an offense that's struggling right now, it's probably the only thing that's going to keep you in football games.
Oh, the beautiful punt that was muffed and apparently deflected out of bounds. 8th punt of the day for Anger, and this one will go down as a 60-yarder. So he has some average. Looked like Glover Quinn, the free safety of the Texans, got a piece of it. Let's see.
And he's got to do a better job getting away from it. Talk about making a call. You got Holiday there. He's got to tell the return guys to get away from it. Could have been a costly mistake.
Ball is placed at the Houston 29-yard line, although the officials are now discussing it.
Correction. Ball will be spotted at the 21-yard line where it went out of bounds.
So they move it back. That's where it went out of bounds at the 21.
That was a live ball.
Yeah.
It's funny how he looked down at the yard marker. Just, we'll just put it here on the 21. It's close enough. Well, I don't want to be critical of the officials. I know how difficult a job it is to do, and it hasn't been perfect. But you know, you're putting officials out there really that haven't been trained to do these type of games.
Texans starting out at their 21, and you can see the movement with just 48 seconds to go in this third quarter.
Offense number 88, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's called on the backup tight end Garrett Graham. Sets it back to a 1st and 15. Foster remaining as the lone deep back. Daniels lines up in the slot. Foster is stopped at the line by the outside linebacker Russell Allen.
I've been impressed with the play of Russell Allen. I watched the tape last week of the Minnesota game. I think this guy flew around and made some plays, and he plays with a lot of energy. Really nice job on the end there, forcing that one back up inside and making the stop.
Allen is a 4-year man out of San Diego State, and last week opened the season as a starter for the first time in his NFL career. Foster and Casey now in an offset I formation. 2nd and 15 for Schaub. Going underneath, but Foster is met. Picked up only 2 on the play, and that's the end of the third quarter. The Texans have a 24-7 lead on the Jaguars. Back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Look at the line score here in Jacksonville. Houston getting right to it in the first half. Had a 17-0 lead, and now up 24-7. Arian Foster in the backfield for the Texans. Foster picking up on what he did last week against Miami, 79 yards rushing, but did score 2 touchdowns. Completed to Foster. Brought it close in on the 30.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a little block where they're going to come across and they're going to try and block both defenders and sneak the ball right back up underneath to Arian Foster. You see how Walter's coming in one side, he gets a block. You see the other tight end up the other side. They just come up a little bit short, but very nice play by design by the Texans.
So they're short of the first down, and here's Donnie Jones from his 15-yard line. Mike Thomas is back to hang time, and Thomas across the 30, 35, and taken down just inside the 40-yard line. Again, it's Tim Dobbins on the tackle. 45-yard punt, 11-yard return. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Opening minute, fourth quarter. We're at Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Week 2 of the NFL, and the Texans with an impressive performance, leading the Jaguars 24-7. Gabbert is taken down. Back behind the 30, it is J.J. Watt. And for the Texans, it is their 3rd sack of the game.
Well, this guy can just take over a game. You're going to see him at the top of your screen. He's just working back up inside and just comes clean. And Gabbert's got his eyes downfield. He never feels J.J. Watt.
And Gabbert's throw is off the mark, intended for Thomas.
Well, you look at the Jacksonville's draft recently. Only NFL team that's had a top 10 draft pick each of the last 5 years. And while they've had more hits than misses, none of the players drafted in the last 5 years has made a Pro Bowl. You look at Derek Harvey, their first-round pick in 2008. He's no longer with the team. So they have struggled. They really need guys like Blaine Gabbert and Justin Blackmon to really come on.
And Rich, remember when this team first came into existence, they had the early success under head coach Tom Coughlin. They surprised the league, but it's been a different story in recent years. Gabbert again incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Mercedes Lewis, and you can hear the boos from this crowd, upset with what they have seen to this point, although I think they've been compassionate.
Well, there's got to be some concern. I don't even know where he was throwing that football. You can see Mike Mularkey going down to talk to him. I don't know if he was throwing it to the tight end or the receiver out there. He's starting to feel that rush a little bit.
Jacksonville, as you saw, zip for 9 on 3rd down. Here's Anger with another beauty. Holiday able to break a tackle, but then he's taken down across the 15 or 59-yard punt. How about that? He has averaged, that's his 9th punt, Anger. He's averaged better than 53 yards per punt, and a flag is down. Referee David White checking things over with the rest of his crew.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 54 of the return team. Penalty will be half the distance from the goal to the goal from the dead ball spot.
Mr. Alexander.
Again.
I just enjoy saying the name, you know. The rain has stopped here in Jacksonville. And we've been talking about the problems of Blaine Gabbert and the backup Chad Henne, former Miami Dolphin, is warming up on the sideline.
And this is what they were hoping to avoid, Marv. Quarterback controversy this early in the season. I mean, Blaine Gabbert has just absolutely struggled. 7 of 19 for just 53 yards. Have not been able to make throws down the field, and something tells me we're going to see Henne here in the next possession.
Chad Henne, a guy who has had 31 career NFL starts in his 4 years with the Dolphins. First down from the 9 for the Texans. 13 and a half remaining in this 4th quarter as Tate is stopped. Picked up a yard. Very tough to deal with this Houston offense when you think of Mac Schaub, who plays such an intelligent game. He has his receivers in Andre Johnson, tight end Owen Daniels, Kevin Walton, Arian Foster, Ben Casey, and how about the running combination of Foster and Tate? Schaub over the middle has a first down as he hits Walter, who was covered by Ross, so that's good for 15.
We talk about a quarterback throwing from different body angles, and you watch his arm, looks like he sidearms this one a little bit. Let's watch how this comes out. Sometimes you got to find holes in those defenses, and it's a good veteran move by Matt Schaub.
I can recall you changing your delivery, not necessarily you were not Ewell Blackwell.
No, but particularly on crossing routes.
Yeah.
You know, on crossing routes where we see J.J. Watt make so many great plays, you've got to be able to find different angles with your arm to be able to fit those balls through tight windows.
I realize the reference of Hugh Blackwell will not hit home with many people, but Foster is the ball carrier. Picked up a yard.
I just think that in order to play this level at this level, you've got to be able to throw from different positions. He recocks it, and that thing comes out kind of sidearm for Matt Schaub, which is okay. I mean, you look how effective it is, very accurate, particularly when you're throwing across the middle. You've got these big defensive linemen nowadays. They're 6'5", they're 6'6", and they do a great job studying the eyes of the quarterback, and once you cock it, boy, they do a great job jumping up trying to bat balls.
I'll give you Dan Quisenberry.
There you go.
Here's Foster. A beautiful fake, and Schaub is able to find Daniels at the far side, and he was inbounds, says the official. It's a pickup of 11 and a first down. As we check in for an update, let's go to JV and Dan.
Cam getting it done with his feet.
Oh, no doubt. This is what makes him so special and dangerous down inside the 10-yard line. 5-yard quarterback draw for a touchdown. Cam Newton, 35-20, Carolina.
Career high 70 rushing yards for Cam. Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, JB. It is a first down for Houston across the 35-yard line. Foster battling his way. He's got over the 100-yard rushing mark. 25 carries, 102 yards for Foster, who was pulled down by Paul Posluszny.
Now you think about the update we just got from Carolina-New Orleans game. Marv, you go back to 1990, teams' chances of making the playoffs after starting 0-2, just 12%. New Orleans in danger of starting 0-2. They can't find a way to come back against Carolina.
Houston has a second of 8 and 8 at the 38-yard line. Ben Tate has returned to the backfield. And Schaub looks to throw deep, and there's a flag down. Looked like Lestar Jean, second-year man from Florida Atlantic, has been interfered with by the left corner Aaron Ross.
Well, the veteran panics. He clearly grabs Jean. Like Jean trying to run a little double move. And Aaron Ross isn't going to have any of it.
I enjoyed Matt Schaub talking last night about
pass interference defense, number 31. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
It's on Ross, but Schaub was saying that Lestar Jean has deceptive speed. I said it's kind of similar to Rich Gannon, who still has that deceptive speed.
Very deceptive. You just see Aaron Ross there, though. He panics. Can't locate the ball, and he grabs Jean the whole way. Doesn't want to give up a big one.
So
deceptive.
Deceptive. I don't understand how you can have deceptive. You're either
fast or you're not.
Yeah, right? it's kind of a compliment. As Tate is able to break tackles, looks to go wide, has a first down, and spins, and he's taken down. What a move by Ben Tate.
He has deceptive speed.
I don't know about deceptive. I think that's genuine speed.
Genuine.
Yeah.
Well, you think about Ben Tate, and he's had a terrific day. Powerful downhill runner. You think about a guy that had almost 1,000 yards rushing by himself last year, averaged over 5.4 carry. And a great compliment to what they already have in Arian Foster. It's a nice job finishing runs.
For Tate now 12 carries, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. And total yards with receptions, as you see, 97. So what a terrific all-around day for both Ben Tate and Arian Foster. Another nice move. It's Foster. Stopped by Mincy. It's a 5-yard pickup.
I mean, just look at total plays. I mean, that's incredible. 73 offensive plays for Houston. It's total domination. Time of possession, 36 minutes. And you can just see this Jacksonville defense. They've played hard, but they're wearing down. I mean, it's a long day when you're out there playing that many snaps in this heat.
In this situation, less than 9 minutes to go. Houston has it well in hand. Would you go with Chad Henne? What does that do to Gabbert?
Well, it doesn't help his confidence, Marv, but I think at some point you got to find out about Chad Henne as well.
In fact, we're told that Gabbert suffered a leg injury and will not return. So that answers the question.
Well, you see him limping a little bit on that left knee, and I asked him about that knee brace that he wears. I asked him, have you ever had any surgeries, any type of procedures there? He said, nope. He said, I just wear it for precautionary measures. And so I thought that was rather unusual. He says it's his plant leg, and looks like that's the one he's limping around on a little bit. I didn't see any particular hit, but nonetheless, chance to get Chad Henne in there a little bit and get him some reps.
3rd down and 1. Foster in the backfield. Foster. And we'll have to see where they spot it. Does that sound plausible that you would wear a leg brace for precautionary reasons?
I wouldn't. I think it slows you down a little bit, but then you go back, you look at Gabbert here. You watch that front leg as he plants.
What I'm indicating is I would think there was something bothering him if he's wearing the leg brace. I would think.
Yeah, you'd think, but you and I were talking to him about it the other day, and he said it's more for precautionary reasons. You got guys falling around your legs. I wasn't able to figure it out myself. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not going to help you be quicker away from center.
Right.
It's not going to help you be more mobile in the pocket.
Shane Graham connects from 37, his second field goal. Houston extends to a 27-7 lead. Now look at Chad Henne, or rather Blaine Gabbert, who is coming out, and Chad Henne will check in a moment. But look at that graphic. Total yards for Jacksonville, fewest in franchise history to this point.
Not been a good day for Blaine Gabbert in this offense.
Parmalee stay in the end zone, and here comes Henne. Chad Henne in his 5th year out of Michigan, one-time Miami Dolphin, and he will take over. Jaguars going with a new quarterback, Blaine Gabbert, shaken up, and Chad Henne, one-time Miami Dolphin, in his 5th season out of Michigan. And missed most of last season after undergoing shoulder surgery, has taken over on a short set. He throws, and it is caught for a first down by LaRon Robinson. Picked up 11 on the play.
And Marv, I can promise you, Chad Henne did come to Jacksonville to be a backup. I mean, he's got 31 starts under his belt. And of all places you could have come to kind of jumpstart your career, you go to a place where the quarterback the year before really struggled, and that's what happened with Blaine Gabbert as a rookie.
At the 31, there's movement as the pass is thrown to Robinson, but a flag is thrown.
And stranger things have happened. I've seen quarterbacks get hurt. The other guy comes in and moves the football team, makes big throws. And all of a sudden, now you've got a decision if you're Mike Mularkey.
Offside defense, number 59. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
So a 1st and 5 at the 36-yard line. And again, movement. This time it is the right guard.
False start, offense,
Waneri.
77. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And again, I mentioned there's been all kinds of changes on that offensive line. Evan Britton is out with an ankle. Guy Wimper is playing for the injured Cameron Bradfield, also an ankle injury. They signed Herb Taylor earlier this week. He is starting for Britton. Mike Brewster has seen some action, a rookie out of Ohio State, and that certainly cannot help the situation for the Jaguars.
No, the penalties, they're not good enough right now to be able to overcome the penalties and the mistakes up front.
First down at the 31-yard line. Henne completes, has a first down. Mike Thomas making the catch. So Henne's thrown a couple of bullets. That's good for 12 and a Jacksonville first down.
And he's been very decisive. I mean, this ball is coming out before the receivers are even out of the break. This is good to see. Maybe the receivers, these guys have had a long day. They haven't gotten a lot of work their way. It's been a problem today for Jacksonville. They've not done a good job getting the ball on the perimeter to these receivers.
Henne has had his moments with the Dolphins. He was the starting quarterback for some time. Jones drew, finding a hole, and has a first down up at the 40-yard line.
It isn't amazing when you can have some success throwing the ball. It opens up those holes for Maurice Jones-Drew in the running game.
But a penalty marker is tossed. 17-yard run for Maurice Jones-Drew if it holds up.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 68 of the offense. The line of the game was reached. Therefore, after the chains are set, will be first down and 10 for Jacksonville.
So that hurts the Jaguars. The right tackle, Guy Wimber, who's starting for Cam Bradfield, is called on the penalty.
Yeah, just a little push at the end of the play there. I don't know, I could have done without that. That wasn't like he knocked him over or anything. Yard down by 20. Let these guys play a little bit.
Back to the 45, first down for the Jaguars, coming up on 5 minutes remaining in the game, and a mix-up on the snap. Let's see who's on that loose ball. And J.J. Watt comes away with it.
Oh, this will drive Mike Mularkey crazy.
Yep, it'll be Houston ball.
Yeah, they had one of these last week between the veteran center Brad Meester and Blaine Gabbert. Now you've got Chad Henne in there, and the same issue. That ball looks like it slides a little bit to the left, but this is just ugly. This is unfortunate.
Turns out to be the first turnover committed by Jacksonville, for what that is worth. They're down here 27-7 with just about 5 minutes to play, and Houston now will take over. Justin Forsett, 5-year man from Cal, has come on for the first time at running back. This is Forsett picking up the speed and runs for a first down. Aaron Ross made the tackle, a 14-yard gain. Forsett signs a free agent from Seattle. He was the Seahawks' primary punt returner. Goes just 5'8", 195 pounds.
Now you really have a fresh set of legs in there. We've been talking about how they've been utilizing Arian Foster and Ben Tate all day. Now you bring in Justin Forsett. These two very, very good backs. They do a great job complementing one another. 110 from Arian Foster, another 74 from Ben Tate. Look at that, 3 touchdowns between them. 40 rushes between those two backs.
First down at the Jaguars. 29, again it's Forsett. This time tries the other way and refuses to go down. Going to battle his way inside the 20, goes for 10. And it appears he picked it up.
I want you to keep an eye on Dwayne Brown, the left tackle here. Just watch the movement he gets. First he kicks out. Now watch him get up on the linebacker, Bosworth. Watch how far he pushes back Bosworth. Look, Bosworth's trying to make the tackle. The Pro Bowler, Dwayne Brown, is still walking him back.
You know, Rich, we always ask you before the game, what are your keys? And we live by that. You said 30 rushing plays for the Texans. And once again, you're right on the number. How does he do it? Here's Forsett again.
Well, you just know when you listen to a head coach, Gary Kubiak, talk about how disappointed they were last week with the rushing effort, just 2.4 a carry. So you know it was a point of emphasis. You know it's something they worked on all week. Look at that, 42 rushes, 208 yards, and 5 yards a carry. So you know they had those extra inside run periods this week in Houston.
And this coming off the disappointment of last week where they averaged under 2.5 yards per carry in the game, although a win over the Dolphins. Dolphins bouncing back this afternoon. 2nd and 8 down at the 17. Forsett remaining in the backfield. Takes the handoff and finds a hole and gets to the 10. It's a 7-yard gain. Russell Allen makes the stop as we approach 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter.
They're doing such a great job on this left side, and the tight ends. We've been talking too much about the offensive line, but the tight ends have jumped in the party as well. You look at Garrett Graham, he gets a block on the end, and when we sat down and we visited with Arian Foster last night, you just got the sense that it was going to be this type of a game. He said it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a physical battle. There'll be a lot of talking back and forth, but really felt like they could come out and run the football against this Jacksonville defense.
And once again, it is Forsett short of the first down. He's stopped at the line by C.J. Mosley. What a performance by Forsett off the bench. 5 carries, 33 yards. 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. It has been all Texans. Well, coming up next, Mark Sanchez and perhaps Tim Tebow and the Jets take on Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Titans go up against the Chargers. Check your local listing. Darrelle Revis suffering that concussion last week in the game against Buffalo will not be in action today. 2 minutes remaining with the Texans leading the Jaguars 27-7. As Justin Forsett remains on the field for this 4th down and 2, and here is Forsett. To be short. Let's see where they spot it. Oh, they say yes, he picked up the first down. Picked it up. So the Texans maintain possession. .414 total yards, as you saw, for the Texans, who will run it out as we come up on a minute to play. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. So the Texans will go to 2-0 as they look to Denver and Peyton Manning next week in Denver, and Jacksonville will drop to 0-2. Next week they'll play at Indianapolis. Houston will make it 4 straight wins, including the 2 games last season against Jacksonville. So the total yard stat, franchise low for the Jaguars. Gabbert just 7 of 19, 53-yard shot, 26 for 35, 195 yards. And he was able to connect with 7 different receivers. The running backs were terrific. Foster, 28 carries, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Tate, 12 for 74, 2 touchdowns. And then Justin Forsett came on late, did a nice job. Jones-Drew, just 12 carries, 60 yards. Did not look to be sharp, but you have to talk about all the changes on that offensive line. I would think that had its effect.
Oh, yeah, 2 new starters in there at left guard and at right tackle. And you think about them not having a lot of success on the early downs, not being able to throw the football. That won't be a pretty film to watch tomorrow if you're that Jacksonville offense.
Final score here in Jacksonville, the Texans 27, the Jaguars 7. Coming up next, Game 2 of the NFL on CBS doubleheader. For Rich Gannon, I'm Marv Albert. Saying so long from Northern Florida. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance will take you to New York for all the scores and highlights.